Hey guys, welcome back to the Cellar. So part 2 for season 4 Stranger Things is coming back this week, and I'm excited if you couldn't tell. There's new cast members, there's a new big bad, Robert Englund. Let's discuss it, do a full recap of part 1. But first, make sure you're following me on social media and make sure you're subscribed, and I'll be right back. So let's do a recap of season 4, part 1. So this season starts out with a little flashback to the 70s. You're seeing the facility where Elle is living, and you see Papa with one of those psychic kids with powers. And the kid is trying to tap into his psychic abilities. And he's kind of like thinking about somebody else in the facility. And then he's just like, there's a lot of blood. Then you hear this, little sirens going off. Something is going down. Pop-Up leaves and he sees dead kid after dead kid after dead kid. It was extremely hard to watch this scene. It was serious. They got right into it. No games were played. It was a little disturbing, I'm not gonna lie. And then he goes into, it looks like a cafeteria, and you see 11, and it's little 11. Her nose is bleeding, she's covered in blood. What did you do, Elle? What did you do, 11? Was pretty much what he said. So then you get a flash forward to 1986. You see Elle, she's writing a letter to Mike saying like, we moved here, everything's great. I have all these friends, I'm so popular. Will's doing good. Just kind of giving him a gist of what's going on. But you actually see her getting bullied by a girl I couldn't stand. And you just see her having a really, really hard time. So the picture she's painting for Mike is a lot nicer than reality. Then you kind of meet some new characters along the way. Eddie Munson, who's played by Joseph Quinn. I am a fan of his. I really got some Robert Downey Jr. vibes from him, young Robert Downey Jr. Did you feel that way too? I don't know, they resemble each other, and it's just the attitude, the swag. I don't know. I got those vibes immediately, but I am a fan. As soon as I started watching this part, I'm like, okay, I need to buy this shirt. I want to be a part of his club. I'm a fan already. But he was just a cool, he's the head of the Hellfire Club, which is with, our Dustin and Lucas, and Lucas is playing basketball now. I skipped that part. But yeah, he's part of that club. He's the head of the club, and he's kind of like the mentor to the boys now, just kind of they're older Dungeons and Dragons mentor. And I want to bring up Erica Sinclair, Lucas's sister. Now, she's been entertaining from the first time we saw her, but she's growing up into this sassy young lady that I really enjoy watching. I'm a fan of hers. I just love how she's joining the group. And she's just a good time. She's just a strong female character that I'm really enjoying her. I'm happy they gave her such a big role. When Lucas was playing basketball, they had her there with the guys playing Dungeons and Dragons, which I love. And she came in there and she held her own. She's in middle school, and she wasn't going to let these high school boys make her feel like she was any smaller than they were. So yeah, a fan of hers, definitely. So you kind of see what everybody's doing, what everybody's currently doing. Max is having a really hard time. We know Billy, Pat, where he was killed or sacrificed himself actually at the end of the last season. So it looks like she's kind of going through a depression. She's having issues with her mom, Billy's dad left the mom, so now they're living in a trailer park. You could just tell the mom's working a lot. She's probably drinking a lot. She's depressed. So Max is having a really hard time, which couldn't really help the relationship with Lucas. he's playing basketball now. He's becoming popular. He's growing into his own, and they're kind of like going on different paths, which makes me sad because they were really cute together. Then you see Steve, he's working at a video store, and it's just you know, you're finding out what happened in the last, I don't know, year or two. I feel like the season 3 was 84 and this is 86. So to me, it's kind of like, I don't know if it was a year and a half in between or 2 years exactly, but so you're kind of getting the update for all the characters. Oh, okay, so let's just dive in a little bit to the big bad. So you kind of see it right away, the big bad do what he does. So Eddie Munson brings I think she was the head cheerleader, back to his trailer park. Now I think he's gonna give her some drugs, and he's looking for it. And you could see before this scene, something was going on. She was like hallucinating. I was thinking, you know, I'm gonna be honest, I was thinking maybe she hooked up with Billy last season. He was like possessed and had that thing in him. Maybe it transferred over to her. Maybe she was pregnant. Maybe something like that was going on. But I was just kind of like speculating a little too much. So flash forward, she's now in the trailer. Eddie Munson, he's looking for the drugs. You can tell she goes somewhere else. To me, it's like Freddy Krueger's dungeon. It was dark. It was creepy. It was scary. You hear this voice, and to me, it sounded like Robert Englund. I immediately got Freddy Krueger vibes. I'm like, this is very Nightmare on Elm Street-esque. Like, I felt it immediately. The voice was very reminiscent. It was just like she was in dream world. So she's in her own head in dream world, or, you know, wherever you want to call it. And Eddie Munson comes back into the room, and he sees her. Like, her eyes are kind of blank, and he sees her just standing there. And he's like, wake up. Like, what is going on? I do not like this. Wake up. Snap out of it. Then you just see her start lifting up. Again, got the Freddy Krueger vibes. She starts lifting up, and then you just see her like hand snap. Her neck snaps. Like, she like starts like caving in. Like, dude, it was intense. It was very quick they got into it, but you don't expect anything less for Stranger Things. He's freaking out. He's like, what the hell? So yeah, she died. She's dead. Like, she didn't survive her neck getting snapped, her like wrist and everything snapping. It was gross. It was cool. It was fun. Whew, yeah. So what a way to start I guess a season, part 1 of this season. It was just such a cool way to start it. So yeah, so that's what's happening there. Mike goes to visit Elle, and they're at the roller skating ring, and she's like, I'm so popular. Like, me and my friends come here all the time. Will's like, you're a goddamn liar. And then, like, you know, the popular girl that's been bullying Elle the entire time, she's there. She's like, okay, I'm going to start some more crap. She's very cruel. She does cruel things to her. A bunch of kids do. I don't understand that bully behavior. I will never understand it. It's disgusting to me. But let's go on. So they start to bully her, and she doesn't have any powers. It's traumatizing. Like, your boyfriend's right there. He just came to visit you. Now I'm being tortured by these bullies and in front of everybody. It was horrible. It was hard to watch. Like, it made me really sad for her. So she goes up to the bathroom. I'm pretty sure she has like a milkshake or something. Like, she's covered in something. So she comes out of the bathroom pissed off. Like, what else would you expect? Takes a roller skate, hits the bitch on the head. It was beautiful. It was great. I know you shouldn't be violent, but you know what? Whatever. That's what I have to say. So yeah, so she hits her in the head. Her face starts bleeding. She doesn't die. She's okay. She's bleeding a little bit. But then Mike does his normal, like, what did you do, Elle? You know, I always hate, like, him turning on her right away. But, like, you know, put the blame on her instead of saying, like, look what she just went through. She's reacting. She doesn't know how to handle it. This is just her acting out. But, yeah, so that wasn't good. And then, yeah, it gets a little sticky from there. And she gets arrested and kind of, like, shit hits the fan from there. So let's go over to Joyce, Winona Ryder. So she's home. She's now working from home, selling encyclopedias. She gets this weird letter mailed to her. Like it was just kind of like, it was hidden in something. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but it was hidden in something. She gets a letter. She's looking, she's like, okay, this is from Hopper. I know this is from Hopper because this is something like, there's something from their past. She then calls her friend Murray, who I love. He was just a great character in past seasons. She's like, I got this weird, strange letter. Like, so he does the cool thing and he flies out to her. He, you know, like, let's figure this out. They realize Hopper is alive. He is in a Russian prison. Okay, so being Winona Ryder and being the badass mom she is, she's like, I'm gonna go save him. Let's go get him. Now, the person that sent her the letter is somebody working in the jail who's kind of helping Hopper, saying, listen, if you get me money, then I'll get you out of here. So they're going now to get Hopper out. They're betrayed by the guy that's supposed to be helping them get Hopper out. Like, can anything just go smoothly? Can we just get Hopper out and just be a happy family? No, we can't. Now you see you see little like flashes at like Hopper in jail, what he's going through in prison. He literally, like, I recently rewatched season 1 and I watched season 4 twice, and he has become, like, I know he was always cool and a badass, but boy, he becomes like he looks like he just got out of prison. Like, he becomes like super badass. Like, I'm like, this is a badass Hopper. This is not, you know, beer gut Hopper from season 1, just like drinking and chilling and just being hungover. This is like tough as nails Hopper, and I liked it. Like, I enjoyed his character this season. I just liked how he's grown into like this tough guy. I don't know. I just enjoyed him. So I'm going to go back down to Eddie Munson. So the cheerleader just died in his trailer and he runs, because what else are you going to do? Who's going to believe you? You're a guy living in a trailer park. She is this well-respected cheerleader and has lots of friends. Like, everybody's going to think that you did something. And guess what? They think that he killed her. So he's on the run. You know, Dustin and Mike are trying to clear his name, trying to find him. Lucas is with the popular guys, the basketball guys, and he realizes, like, wait a second, these guys are like, they're pretty much a mob going to hurt Eddie Munson. He reunites with his friends, so they're back together, which was nice. Now they're just trying to figure out what's going on. Now, the big bad, they name Vecna after a character, or I'm not a Dungeons and Dragons player, so I'm not really sure. I guess it's a character in their game, but they name him Vecna. Very appropriate. It's just the entire time they're calling him Vecna, which is cute. You get little glimpses of Vecna throughout part 1, and then bam, you really, really see him. Now, my favorite scene out of the entire part 1 is with Max. So like I said earlier, Max is going through a lot. And I think Vecna, being like, he's kind of like this psychic, creepy villain monster. He like is picking up on people in distress. So he's picking up on her depression and everything she's going through. And it's kind of like, you know, he's messing with her head. And I know there's a certain amount of time from like the first time you start experiencing certain things, like start seeing certain things, like from the time that like he takes you and kills you pretty much. So they know Vecna is coming to get Max, and we need to figure out how to save her. So at this point, the group splits up. Robert and Nancy, they're going to, I'm pretty sure it's a mental institution. There's this story about a man who murders his wife and children. I'm not sure what year. I don't know if it's maybe like the 60s. That he murders his whole family, and he is now committed. So Robin and Nancy are now going to meet him and figure out, like, somehow he's connected to what's going on. So they meet him, and guess who this man is? Yes, it's Robert Englund. Yes. at that moment, I was like, yes. Like, you see the back of him. And as soon as I just saw just like that shadow, I just knew that was Freddy Krueger. Like, it was funny because the entire time I was watching this part one, I'm like, this has very, like, very, very, very Nightmare on Elm's vibe. Like, I just felt it right away, like in my gut, and him being there, just like, yes, they were doing that. This is what I was meant to feel this. So yes, this is Robert Englund is the man who supposedly killed his entire family. Yeah, so he turns around, his eyes are like slit, like he can't see, like his face is all messed up. And then he tells the story. We moved into this home. Me and my family were really happy. Then we started experiencing like these weird things, dead animals all over the place. And then one night we're sitting there, we're eating dinner, and then you see his wife being lifted up, wrist break, head snaps, kind of like the cheerleader, almost exactly like the cheerleader. He's like, what the heck? I'm getting my kids out of this haunted house. He grabs the kids, he goes to the door, and then he blacks out. And he's in another place, dream world. I call it dream world. And he's just witnessing like horrific things in his past. And then he hears his music playing. So he starts walking towards the music. He comes out of this trance that he's in, and he sees his daughter is dead, and his son, he thinks is dead, is not really dead, he's in a coma. He says then later on his son passes, he doesn't survive. So he's telling this story. Then Nancy and Robin have to leave the mental institution as fast as possible because their cover is blown. The head of the hospital realizes that they were, BSing him the entire time. When they're leaving, Max and Steve and Dustin and Lucas, they're all, and I'm not sure if Mike was with them, but they're at the cemetery. Max wanted to go to see Billy's grave one last time. Billy then starts going into her little trance, starts seeing Vecna, and it's like, okay, is Max about to die? So you could tell like the boys are freaking out. So this is like my favorite scene. So Dustin's trying to get the girls on the phone. Finally, the girls are like, the music is what pulls people out of this trance. So tells Dustin goes and tells Lucas, what's her favorite song? They put the headphones on, the song starts playing. Max is now in dream world. Vecna has her. You're pretty sure she's about to die. You're like, oh no, don't kill Max. And then you hear music playing, and you kind of see like a portal kind of opening, and you see the guys. And so she somehow like stabs him in the neck, Vecna in the neck, breaks free. And I'm gonna get chills just talking about it. You see how I just calmed down? The scene is like she starts running towards the little portal where she sees the guy. Now, when she's running, you could just see like, pieces of gravel and things just falling left and right. And it's just, you just get a knot in your stomach. It's like, is this how she's gonna die? Like, is she gonna make it in time? And the screen just blackens, completely blackens. And I'm like, dude, did you just kill Max? Is that over? Like, did part one just ends like that and Max is gonna die? Now you see Max after she survived, she got out. Like the part of me that likes good TV and movies and likes drama and like the shock value in this, kind of wanted Max to die just because the shock of it all would just kind of be like, whoa. But a part of me that is a fan of the show and Max, like the character overall, wanted her to survive it. So I was kind of like 50-50. I wanted it to happen because it would be like, whoa, you just killed off a big character. That was an intense scene and you freaking killed it. You killed her. But they let her live. So part of me was happy. I didn't want her to die. Just that intensity of that moment. Like, did you guys feel that way too? Maybe it's just me. So she survives. Things start getting like crazy now. Throughout part one, you're seeing it's like kind of jumping around. It's jumping around to Joyce and Murray trying to get Hopper out. It's jumping around from Mike, 11, and Will, like what's going on with them. And then it's going to Dustin, Steve, Lucas, and Eddie Munson, and Max. So it's like bouncing onto those three stories. And it just kind of like at the end, kind of gets full circle. The way they ended, I'm just going to kind of wrap this up. So the way they ended is where they have the group with Nancy and Steve and Robin and Eddie, and they are now trying to clear Eddie's name. So they're on a lake. They kind of see like a little like red in the like underneath, like it looks like a little like hellfire kind of like in the water. Steve, being the badass amazing man that he is, he jumps in and he's like, okay, let's see what this is about. He sees it's kind of like a portal and he goes to swim back up. Something goes, pulls him right down into that world. So this group, being the tight-knit close group that they are, they all dive in after him. Like, what good friends. Like, those are such good friends that you would dive in after him, not knowing where you're going. So now they're in the other world. When they're there, when Steve initially gets pulled in, like these things attack him and they're kind of ripping at him. It was just really hard to watch, being like a Steve fan. His friends come, they save the day, they rescue him, and now they have to figure out, like, how do we get out of here? So they somehow, like, you know, in season 1, when Will was in the other world and Joyce was trying to get it, like, you know, they were trying to communicate and she did the lights. Well, they figured out, let's do the same kind of way. Let's do with Morse code. So they do it, you know, and now we were with Dustin and Lucas. So they're trying to give, you know, say like, listen, this is where I am, to the other group. They figure out where they are. They meet, they pull them back into this world. As they're doing it, Nancy doesn't get out. So when Nancy's there, she kind of starts getting like I guess visions from like Vecna's life prior. Now this is when everything comes full circle. Basically, you see Robert Englund's family and what was really going on and who was causing all these issues. It wasn't a demon in the house. It wasn't a ghost. It was the son. Now, the first time I watched the scene when Robert Englund was telling this story about his family, I saw the son off to the corner. He looked a little off. He didn't look like a happy child. Like something was wrong. And I don't know. I got like vibes from him immediately. So when they, you know, when they showed it was actually him doing it all, I'm like, okay, I get it now. I see what's going on. While all of this is happening and Nancy is kind of getting like visions of, you know, this little boy killing animals. This little boy, like, he has powers. So he's, you know, putting his like family, like making them see crazy visions, like punishing them. You see Elle, who is now with Papa. And yeah, did I leave that out? I'm sorry. Elle's with Papa now. Yes. I'm telling you, season 1, there was just so much that went on. It was a 6th season. So she's with Papa now. He's trying to bring out her powers. He keeps on playing that scene in her head of like that day when everyone like got killed. Like what really happened? So you find out what happened was there was another psychic child. His name was 1. You know, she's 11. He was 1. Now there's like an orderly there who's kind of like telling her the story about him the entire time, having her back. Then you find out the orderly is like, he's, you know, trying to protect her and stuff. And he's like, listen, I have something in my neck. I want to get out of here. I'm going to get you out of here. Can you get out of my neck? Sure. You're my friend, right? I can trust you. She gets it out of his neck. Then something happens. I don't know if I can't remember if she gets knocked out or whatever, but like flash forward, you see him start killing everybody. No, so this is not just a normal guy. This was number 1. So the entire time we think this is just a regular orderly, and he was like, no, he was a bad guy, and something, whatever was in his neck was probably like holding him back. So he killed everybody. It wasn't Elle. It wasn't 11. It was number 1 who kills everyone. 11 comes to the room, sees that he killed everybody, and says, okay, I'm not going with you. You tricked me. You're a bad man. You know, 11's a little girl at the time. You know, she's like a small child. She's like, you're a bad man. I have to stop you. She fights him. You know, they're doing the like little psychic power fight, and she opens up the portal. Like, she's the one who initially opens, and she pushes him in it. He goes. And he falls into that world. You see his skin start burning. And it's like, again, you get the Freddy Krueger vibes. His skin starts burning, and he's going, like, he starts kind of turning into a monster. So yeah, kind of like Elle kind of created that monster. That's Vecna. Turns out, number one, who's now Vecna, was the little boy, was Robert Englund's son. So when you thought Robert Englund's son died, he didn't die. He was in a coma. He survived. They told him he died because they wanted to kind of train him to be their weapon like they did with 11. Yes, I know. There's a lot. There's a lot. Okay. That's how they end the season. It's like, holy shit, dude. What did I just watch? I gotta watch this again. It kicked my ass. It was amazing. Yes. Yes. Okay, so that was part one. I just want to say I loved this season so far from start to finish. The new characters were so much fun. They kind of brought up a franchise that I'm a massive fan of, which was nice. I have no complaints. I literally have no complaints from this season so far. It was great. And after seeing season 4 part 2 trailer, which I actually did a reaction video for, I am here for it. Like, I am excited. I am ready. Bring it on. I cannot wait. I will be watching it on the 1st when it comes out. I will binge watch it if I have to. Now, I have a couple of theories. People have said that they felt like, you know, Steve was gonna die, which I can't handle that. I don't want to handle it. Just don't do it, please. But I kind of feel like in one scene he gets hurt. You see him with like these monster things kind of ripping out of him, like ripping like pieces of him off, and he's bleeding out of his mouth. Is he more hurt than he's letting on? Like, is this what's really killing him? Is he dying and he's gonna sacrifice himself to save his friends because he knows he's not gonna survive anyway? I kind of have that feeling. It makes me sick. And after reading everything I've been reading about it, they say that it is a body count. So it's not just one character we're going to lose. We're going to lose multiple characters. And I am not ready for it. I don't know if Netflix is going to pay for my therapy bill, but they might have to, because I am not ready to lose any of these characters. I don't know. I have to prepare myself. I have to man up because I'm not ready. Like, even thinking about it now is making me sad. All right, so I hope I didn't forget anything. There was so much that happened in part 1. It's hard to really mention all the amazing things that went on. But that's just kind of like my favorite scenes, my favorite part throughout this season so far. Comment down below. Let me know what your favorite scene was, what you felt about part 1. Are you excited for part 2? If you haven't watched my trailer reaction video, take a peek. It was a lot of fun. I got really emotional watching it. I kind of teared up a little bit. I'm not going to lie. It was a little embarrassing. It was the first time I was watching it, and I couldn't really hold it back. You don't want to lose your favorite character. I've done it time and time with like Supernatural, with Buffy. Like, you just don't want to, but you know what's going to happen. You know, it's about time I deal with it, but I just can't. I don't know. So yeah, comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're a fan of this show, and like always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you're following me on social media, and make sure you're subscribed, and I'll be right back.